Mr. Williams has tendered a nolo contendere plea to the RICO conspiracy count. And in that count, there are several overt acts. And the first one, Your Honor, deals with a traffic stop. It's on September 9th of 2013. And I won't go through it might take a long time, but just for completeness for this, the court knows, Mr. Williams is driving a car. There is a dash cam video of the stop. The officer who testified at the trial 11 years later, the case was, a gun was found under the passenger seat. Mr. Williams is not tied to the gun. He's not convicted of that, and the dash cam video that the officer said would have picked up sound as well as definitely supposedly lost, could not explain the loss. The armed robbery in another overt act of Mr. Dodson, D-O-D-S-O-N, has the following information. The state only, because we haven't called witnesses yet. So the state put up a man who said nothing except, "I don't recall." And then they put in his prior recorded jail calls. That man, his name is Mr.bean, B-E-A-N. He was taken to Grady Hospital, and he was spoken with by a detective. The state vehemently accused me of lying to the jury, that the man never went, Mr. Bean was never taken to Grady Hospital, and that somehow I planted on him to say something on a recording where he said, the reason I implicated Jeffrey Williams is because the police told me that it would be easier for me. Then I had to go through the CAD reports and show that
We talked to Detective Lewis.
Okay, but that's...
So when he says, do you remember a thing that there's no evidence took place, he is asserting that, one, it took place, and then asking the witness improperly in front of the jury.
Did he ever talk to Detective Lewis?
No, that's just what I'm telling you, Your Honor. And then Mr. Steele gets here and says to you all this stuff and still never shows you anything to suggest that Adriane Bean talked to Detective Lewis.
Okay.
Your Honor, on the recording that you just heard at the beginning, the first couple of minutes, and I don't have the time in front of me, it was not shown on the screen, Mr. Bean said when he spoke with the detectives or the authorities, whatever his words are, at the hospital. That's what he says.
Okay, but here's her beef. If you'd have said, who'd you talk to? And he said, I talked to the detective. Well, was it Detective Lewis? Was it Detective Quinn? Was it Detective whoever? What I think that the question assumes is he did in fact talk to Detective Lewis, and he didn't.
I don't know if that's true.
Well,
I'm not conceding that.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I haven't heard anything that would indicate that's truth.
Yeah, well,
That you have a good faith basis to ask that.
You haven't heard anything of who he spoke with. That's my point.
That's the point.
But you all can't. But you two, neither one of you can proffer that.
Judge.
It's not proper, Mr. Steele.
No. Listen.
It's not. It would be a violation before me for you to put that in front of this jury.
If you're not letting me finish. In the September 17, 2000.
You are saying to the court that you have a belief that there is another statement out there. There's not.
How could you say that?
Because it hasn't been brought up. If it gets brought up, then we'll correct it at that point in time. But right now, I'm going to direct you not to inquire that line. You don't have a basis to do so.
Not true.
Well, go ahead and make a statement and see what happens.
Your Honor, listen.
Go ahead and make the statement in contravention to what I've just told you, and I'm telling you that you will have some problems in front of me.
I'm trying to articulate to you.
You have told me everything at this point. You have told me that there's got to be a statement. Now, if you find the statement, I will, one, apologize to you. Two, I will take corrective action. That's probably not going to be nice to anybody. But at this point, there's nothing for me to do. If you don't have a good faith basis to do it, you can't ask the question.
Your Honor, listen. there is a recording between Detective Quinn and Adriane Bean where Adriane Bean says, I lied to your...
But we don't know what he lied about.
He says he lied about who he's talking about, the car.
But we still don't know whether or not he had a conversation with Detective Lewis.
And I made it clear, it's 10 years ago.
But you said you had, in your conversation with Detective Lewis, that's what you proffer.
I said, or any other detective or law enforcement. Read the transcript. I made it clear. I don't know. He doesn't remember names. He says it was Detective Quinn. Also on the recording, on Sunday, January 22, 2023, Mr.bean is the one who said this happened in the hospital. Your Honor, I'm the one complaining about I don't have the statement. I've been asking for it. This is Brady. Clearly there was a statement made.
We don't, but we don't know if there's a statement. You're supposing there's a statement, okay? And there may be. And you know what I said? And you know what I said earlier? I said if there is Brady that's not disclosed, then that particular individual is going to have some problems with me. I told you that already. Then I had to go through the CAD reports and show that Mr.bean was in fact taken to Grady Hospital, and Mr.bean on recording told Detective Quinn, who of course told the truth. Yes, when I spoke to the detective previously, I did lie. Then what the state doesn't tell the jury is that there's another man in the car. He is shot at the scene. He's arrested. He pled guilty. His name is Fred Pretho, P-R-E-T-H-O. And Mr. Pretho is in the Georgia State Prison System, easy to find.
Just staggering. It's just staggering.
It's caught in the crossfire.